You buy a pair of socks, that's 2 socks. You buy a pair of Bombas socks, that's 4 socks. Because one purchased is one donated. Socks are the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. So when you buy a pair of super comfortable Bombas socks, you're also donating a pair. Bombas customers have powered over 150 million donations. So Bombas would like to thank you 150 million times. But we only have like 30 seconds. Go to bombas.com and use code AUDIO for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com and use code AUDIO at checkout.
This is not a drill. You can get the new iPhone 16e with Apple Intelligence for just $49.99 when you switch to Boost Mobile.
Wait, that's the actual fire alarm. We need to go. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store for full offer details. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later. Restrictions apply.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started today at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, I'm Christy Shriver, and we're here to discuss books that have changed the world and have changed us.
And I'm Gary Shriver, and this is the How to Love Lit podcast. Every year, during the last week of June and the first week of July, the world turned its gaze to a little place 7 miles or 11 kilometers southwest of London, the All England Lawn Tennis Club, formed in 1868 in the London suburb of Wimbledon. To some, the location is simply called SW19, the iconic postal code of the London district. The tennis tournament held in Wimbledon is one of the most prestigious sporting events in the world and regarded by many players as the best of the Grand Slam tennis tournaments, which are the Australian Open in January, the French Open in late May, early June, which, by the way, is played on clay, Wimbledon in late June, early July, which is played on grass, and the U.S. Open held in late August or early September. Today, we feature a man whose name is forever associated with tennis, but especially with Wimbledon. The Swiss player who won 20 Grand Slam titles, the first ever to do so, and 8 single titles at SW19. He is considered one of the greatest tennis players of all time and a man many respect for his work on and off the tennis court. In many ways, he revolutionized tennis, making it more popular globally and more financially profitable than ever before. Beyond just $1 billion he made through his many business ventures, he sought to make tournament prize money more equally distributed amongst the players. In 2003, still at the beginning of his long and illustrious career, Federer launched the Roger Federer Foundation, an organization devoted to helping literally millions of children in Africa and Switzerland through interventions in early childhood education. Well, in June of 2024, the Board of Trustees at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, invited Roger Federer to give their commencement address. He would be awarded an honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters degree on the same day as personal friend Tony Godsick's daughter graduated from the prestigious American Ivy League University. James Damptey of the Australian News described the speech he gave as the best speech ever. Matt Sayed of the UK Times called it a 25-minute masterclass. And both of these compliments are high praise because, and I say this as someone who has watched well over 100 commencement addresses. Commencement addresses are traditionally just a long list of cliches and obvious truths. So to stand out takes some doing.
Oh, for sure. And when Roger Federer speaks, the world notices. I mean, this speech immediately went viral on YouTube and TikTok. It was a global sensation, and it's still going viral. Sports Illustrated commented, and I want to quote them, "It went viral for all the right reasons," meaning that instead of Federer going viral because he embarrassed himself or said something mean or insulted something. It went viral because he said something important. He was giving advice to good people, and he's inspiring the rest of us to be better people. I also want to say, and I say this as a teacher of rhetoric, he does in this speech all the things that we teach students to do if they want to be effective communicators. So let's throw out the 3 Greek terms everybody knows. He demonstrated ethos. That means he used his credibility. He established it. He leaned in to what he did best, tennis. He created what the Greeks called pathos. He charms us by being funny, and he touches our emotions, not just with humor, but with humility. He talks about his own personal struggles. We can connect. And finally, he creates a clear line of reasoning. The Greeks called it creating logos. He leads us through a series of thoughts that are connected, demonstrating how success can be accessed not just in tennis, but in all areas of life.
And, of course, the reason his speech is so successful is because he practices in all areas of life the disciplines that made him a great tennis player. And I watched an interview on ESPN where Federer shared that he spent almost 6 months working on this speech. He took the task seriously, and he made it look effortless, but looking that effortless takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and I love that concept of the effortless actually being full of effort.
For sure. And it's clear that this speech, although it does truly appear just to be effortless, it shows, it has all the tells of somebody who took the time to understand what it takes to connect with a crowd. So beyond just the Greek terms, we know as students of rhetoric that great speakers consider and understand their rhetorical situation and they respond to it. So in this case, Federer understands. Who is he speaking to? What's the occasion? These are students and their families on graduation day on the Dartmouth Green in Hanover, New Hampshire on June 9th, 2024. The students in front of him have spent likely around 4 years on this campus. Notice how many references to campus life Federer makes. Notice all the connections between his experience and the experience of the students that are in the crowd. He begins and he ends with the personal, even asking them to touch base with them if they ever run into each other in Switzerland, his home country, by the way. So let's begin and listen to these words by tennis great Roger Federer.
Thank you. Hello, class of 2024. It's an incredible feeling to be here with you today. I am so excited to join you today. Really, you have no idea how excited I am. Keep in mind, this is literally the second time I have ever set foot on a college campus, the second time ever. But for some reason, you are giving me a doctorate degree. I just came here to give a speech, but I get to go home as Dr. Roger. That's a pretty nice bonus. Dr. Roger, this has to be my most unexpected victory ever. President Baylock, the Board of Trustees, faculty members, thank you for this honor. President Baylock, I'm incredibly grateful, and I'll try my best not to choke. I'm a little outside my comfort zone today. This is not my usual scene, and these are not my usual clothes. Do you dress like this every day at Dartmouth? The robe is hard to move in, and keep in mind, I've worn shorts almost every day for the last 35 years. I'm not a person who gives a lot of speeches like this. Maybe the worst, but an important speech was when I started out on the Swiss national team. I was 17 years old, and I was so nervous that I couldn't even say more than 4 words. Happy to be here. Well, here we are, 25 years later. I still feel a little nervous, but I've got a lot more to say than 4 words. Well, here we are, 25 years later. I still feel a little nervous, but I've got a lot more than 4 words to say to you, starting with, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be with you, happy on the green. As you might have heard, grass is my favorite surface. Big green, it must be destiny.
And of course, what a brilliant way to connect with his audience. Green. I mean, that's associated with Dartmouth College. It was adopted as the school color back in 1866. They're on this big open lawn in the center of campus, and this ceremony is famously being held in a space called the Green. But of course, green is also associated with Wimbledon because that tennis tournament is played on grass courts.
There's another reason I'm here, and I can sum it up in 2 words. Beer pong. Or Pong, as you call it, and I guess you can call it what you like. I'm told Dartmouth invented it. Now, this sport, wait, is Pong a sport, or is it a way of life? Either way, Dartmouth is the Wimbledon of Pong. I'm glad I got to work on my shots with some of you. I'm actually thinking about turning pro. But I know there's more to Dartmouth than Pong. I've spent an amazing couple of days here, and you have made Hanover feel like home. The mountains here are exactly like the Swiss Alps, just shorter.
Again, there's a lot of humor going on, and he's connecting his career as a professional tennis player with the local tradition called beer pong. Now, if you're wondering what that is, let me just say there's several versions, but beer pong, as it was created at Dartmouth fraternities, is this idea where you put beer cups on top of a ping pong table, and then players try to hit the ball into the cups with their paddles. I'm assuming possibly drinking beer at the same time. But it's a funny connection. And more than that, it's endearing to his audience. I mean, Federer is showing up. He's played with them. His audience, he took the time to know who they are as people. I mean, this is a side of humility. This is his humble side. He isn't too posh or too arrogant to learn about other people's traditions or the places that they like to go. He also admits that he didn't even go to college. And all of them in that particular crowd did. So he's subtextually communicating, even though I am one of the greatest in the world in this one area, you have expertise that I don't. Of course, this is immediately endearing to this audience because they're graduating from one of America's fanciest schools.
But I'm loving it here. I got a chance to hit some balls with my kids at the Boss Tennis Center. I did a walk-em. I got to climb the Baker Tower, saw some incredible views, and took my kids to see the Dr. Seuss books at the library. Of course, I also crushed some chocolate chip cookies from Foco and ate an EBA's chicken sandwich from Lou's. But there's another big reason I'm here. Tony G, class of 93. Are we rapping now? Tony Godsick is my business partner, my longtime agent, one of my closest friends, and most important, the proud father of Isabella, class of 2024. From Tony and now Bella, I know how special this place truly is and how loyal you are to each other, how obsessive you are about this color green. I was with their family, including Mary Jo and Nico, the day Bella got into Dartmouth. I remember how crazy happy she was. I saw a smile and a level of excitement on her face that I'd never seen before. But then I got here. And actually, everybody is smiling like this. I can see how proud you are of this place and this moment. You have worked so hard to get here. I have huge respect for all of you and all you've achieved, and for the family and friends who have helped you achieve it. Let's give them a big hand.
Again, let me interrupt you because he's talking about family. And if you know anything about Federer, you know that one of the things he's most known for is his passion and commitment to family. Federer met his wife, Mirka, in 2000 at the Summer Olympics, where they were both representing the Swiss team. They married in 2009, had one set of identical twins that year, and then had a second set of fraternal twins, if you can believe it, 5 years later. So 2 girls and then 2 boys. Federer has always credited much of his success on the courts to Mirka, famously saying in 2009 to the Spanish press, and let me quote him, "As a player, it's always good to have her because some players have a wife a year and then change her. Anything can make you happy but can also distract you. My life is perfect like that. I've always been in love with the same girlfriend from the same wife, running the family and protecting them from the press. She hasn't had an interview to 12 to 15 years, so people don't know what she does. If I talk about tennis, she has a great impact, not only on my game, but on my personality because she was professional before me. Her support is incredible. It always helps me. It makes my life easier no matter when I win or lose. She is a born worker. She's amazing. I hope she doesn't change. I'm always for her and vice versa." So sweet. And of course, those words still ring true many years later. All 4 of their children play tennis and they work together for their foundation. So I'm sure there are many challenges that don't make the news, but it's wonderful that Roger and Mirka in many ways have beaten the odds, not just professionally, but personally. So after that interruption, I'll let you keep reading.
I'm even more impressed because I left school at the age of 16 to play tennis full time, so I never went to college. But I did graduate recently. I graduated tennis. I know the word is retired. Roger Federer retired from tennis. Retired. The word is awful. You wouldn't say you retired from college, right? That sounds terrible. Like you, I've finished one big thing and I'm moving on to the next. Like you, I'm figuring out what that is. Graduates, I feel your pain. I know what it's like when people keep asking you what your plan is for the rest of your life. They ask me, now that you are not a professional tennis player, what do you do? I don't know, and it's okay not to know. So what do I do with my time? I'm a dad first, so I guess I drive my kids to school, play chess online against strangers, vacuum the house? No. In truth, I'm loving the life of a tennis graduate. I graduated tennis in 2022, and you are graduating college in 2024, so I have a head start in answering the question of what's next. Today, I want to share a few lessons I've relied on through this transition. Let's call them tennis lessons. I hope they will be useful in the world beyond Dartmouth.
So he starts with a pun, and that's after he's given this introduction. He set up his speech. He's given some background about who he is, and now we'll move into the body of the speech where he will make 3 points. And notice how they're connected to each other. He builds from the first to the second to the third. He supports his points with evidence from his personal experience, and in this case, his tennis experience is what he's going to talk about from the court. We believe his evidence because we have either seen him play or we at least know his reputation. He has authority because he's a tennis great, and that validates the evidence. In many ways, he is taking us behind the scenes to what we see on maybe a tennis screen or a tennis court. Of course, we all know that discipline is important because we've seen what it's done for him. But when he tells us how he developed the discipline to make him great, we know that we can believe him.
Here's the first. Effortless is a myth. I mean it. I say that as someone who has heard that word a lot. Effortless. People would say my play was effortless. Most of the time they meant it as a compliment. But it used to frustrate me when they would say, he barely broke a sweat, or is he even trying? The truth is, I had to work very hard to make it look easy. I spent years whining, swearing, throwing my racket before I learned to keep my cool. The wake-up call came early in my career when an opponent at the Italian Open publicly questioned my mental discipline. He said, Roger will be the favorite for the first 2 hours, and then I'll be the favorite after that. I was puzzled at first, but eventually I realized what he's trying to say. Everybody can play well the first 2 hours. You're fit, you're fast, you're clear. And after 2 hours, your legs get wobbly, your mind starts wandering, and your discipline starts to fade. It made me understand I have so much work ahead of me, and I'm ready to go on this journey now. I get it. My parents, my coaches, my fitness coach, everyone had really been calling me out, and now even my rivals were doing it. Players, thank you. I am eternally grateful for what you did. So I started training harder, a lot harder. But then I realized winning effortlessly is the ultimate achievement. I got that reputation because my warm-ups at the tournaments were so casual that people didn't think I had been training hard. But I had been working hard before the tournament when nobody was watching. Maybe you've seen a version of this at Dartmouth. How many times did you feel like your classmates were racking up A after A without even trying, while you were pulling all-nighters and loading up on caffeine, crying softly in a corner of Sanborn Library? Hopefully, like me, you learned that effortless is a myth. I didn't get where I got on pure talent alone. I got there by trying to outwork my opponents. I believed in myself, but belief in yourself has to be earned. There was a moment in 2003 when my self-belief really kicked in. I was at the ATP finals where only the best 8 players qualify. I beat some top players I really admired by aiming right at their strengths. Before, I would run away from their strengths. If a guy had a strong forehand, I would try to hit to his backhand. But now, I would try to go after his forehand. I tried to beat the baseliners from the baseline. I tried to beat the attackers by attacking. I tried to beat the net rushers from the net. I took a chance by doing that. So why did I do it? To amplify my game and expand my options. You need a whole arsenal of strengths. So if one of them breaks down, you've got something left. When your game is clicking like that, winning is easy, relatively. Then there are days when you just feel broken. Your back hurts, your knee hurts, maybe you're a little sick or scared, but you still find a way to win. And those are the victories that we can be most proud of, because they prove that you can win not just when you are at your best, but especially when you aren't. Yes, talent matters. I'm not going to stand here and tell you it doesn't, but talent has a broad definition. Most of the time, it's not about having a gift, it's about having grit. In tennis, a great forehand with sick racket head speed can be called a talent. But tennis, like in life, discipline is also a talent, and so is patience. Trusting yourself is a talent. Embracing the process, loving the process is a talent. Managing your life, manage yourself. These can be talents too. Some people are born with them. Everybody has to work at them. From this day forward, some people are going to assume that because you graduated from Dartmouth, it all comes easy to you. And you know what? Let them believe that, as long as you don't.
So if you read much about Federer, you know that he is known for his head game. The one word that shows up in almost every article that someone writes about him is the word elegance. He's an elegant player. He's composed. He's known for being classy on the court. He's known for being classy off the court. But that wasn't always the case. He referenced that early in his years, just like a lot of tennis players. He would have these public outbursts. But his coach at the time, Peter Carter, was constantly working with him on this emotional control. He referenced that. He said, my coaches were telling me that. My family was telling me that. In 2002, while Peter Carter, his coach, was on his honeymoon, he died in a car accident in South Africa. That personal tragedy, because they were close, obviously, rocked Federer's world. Federer described that event as really being a personal wake-up call for him. From that point onward, he changed a lot of things in his life, and one of those things was his emotional control. He even has earned the reputation of being what people have called ice calm. Among other things that he got from Carter in terms of tennis, he credits Carter for this. Federer said this, when they talk about my effortless style and technique, he's talking about Carter, set the foundation.
Okay, second lesson. It's only a point. Let me explain. You can work harder than you thought possible and still lose. I have. Tennis is brutal. There's no getting around the fact that every tournament ends the same way. One player gets a trophy. Every other player gets back on a plane, stares out of the window, and thinks, how the hell did I miss that shot? Imagine if today only one of you got a degree. Congratulations, this year's graduate. Let's give her a hand. The rest of you, the other 1,000 of you, better luck next time. So, I tried not to lose. But I did lose, and sometimes big. For me, one of the biggest was the finals at Wimbledon in 2008. Me versus Nadal. Some call it the greatest match of all time. Okay, all respect to Rafa, but I think it would have been way better if I had won. Losing at Wimbledon was a big deal because winning Wimbledon is everything. Obviously, except winning the Dartmouth Masters Pong title sophomore summer. I mean, I've gotten to play in some amazing venues around the world, but when you have the chance to walk on the center court at Wimbledon, the cathedral of tennis, and when you finish as the champion, you feel the magnitude of the moment. There is nothing like it. In 2008, I was going for a record 6th consecutive title. I was playing for history. I'm not going to walk you through the match point by point. If I did, we would be here for hours, almost 5 hours to be exact. There were rain delays. The sun went down. Rafa won 2 sets. I won the next 2 sets in tie breaks, and we found ourselves at 7, all in the 5th. I understand why people focus on the end, the final minutes, so dark I could barely see the chalk on the grass. But looking back, I feel like I lost at the very first point of the match. I looked across the net, and I saw a guy who, just a few weeks earlier, crushed me in straight sets at the French Open. And I thought, this guy's maybe hungrier than I am, and he's finally got my number. It took me until the third set before I remembered, hey, buddy, you're the 5-time defending champion, and you're on grass, by the way. You know how to do this. But that came too late, and Rafa won, and it was well-deserved. Some defeats hurt more than others. I knew I would never get another shot at 6 in a row. I lost Wimbledon. I lost my number 1 ranking. And suddenly people said, he had a great run. Is this the changing of the guard? But I knew what I had to do. Keep working and keep competing. In tennis, perfection is impossible. In the 1,526 single matches I played in my career, I won almost 80% of those matches. Now I have a question for all of you. What the percentage of the points do you think I won in those matches? Only 54%. In other words, even top-ranked tennis players win barely more than half of the points that they play. When you lose every second point on average, you learn not to dwell on every shot. You teach yourself to think, okay, I double faulted. It's only a point. Okay, I came to the net and I got passed again. It's only a point. Even a great shot, an overhand backhand smash that ends up on ESPN's top 10 plays, that too is just a point. Here's why I'm telling you this. When you're playing a point, it is the most important thing in the world. But when it's behind you, it's behind you. The mindset is really crucial because it frees you to fully commit to the next point and the next one after that with intensity, clarity, and focus. The truth is, whatever game you play in life, sometimes you're going to lose. A point, a match, a season, a job, it's a roller coaster with many ups and downs. And it's natural when you're down to doubt yourself, to feel sorry for yourself. And by the way, your opponents have self-doubt too. Don't ever forget that. But negative energy is wasted energy. You want to become a master at overcoming hard moments. That to me is the sign of a champion. The best in the world are not the best because they win every point. It's because they know they'll lose again and again and have learned how to deal with it. You accept it, cry it out if you need to, then force a smile. You move on. Be relentless, adapt, and grow. Work harder, work smarter. Remember, work smarter. Lesson 3, are you guys still with me? You know, for a guy who left school at 16, this is a lot of lessons.
Back to that humor. Yeah, that 2008 Wimbledon final that he referenced has been called the greatest tennis match of all time. Before the match even started, they called it the Federer trilogy. Isn't that cute? Federer plus Nadal, the Federer trilogy. Federer had beaten Nadal on the greens in 2006 and 2007. But Nadal was beating Federer on clay courts consistently at the French Open. Federer had been the world number 1 for 231 weeks, but Nadal was up and coming for him with 4 consecutive wins at the French Open. The match started late because of rain, and it went for 5 hours, just about. They punched through 2 or more rain delays, and the match did not end until it was after dark at 9:21 p.m. He referenced it. Those final scores were 6-4, 6-4, then 6-7, 6-7, and then 9-7 in favor of Nadal. It was the longest men's final in Wimbledon history. Federer, as he says in this speech, has called it the hardest loss of his career.
Okay, here's the third one. Life is bigger than the court. A tennis court is a small space. 2,106 square feet to be exact. That's for singles matches, not much bigger than a dorm room. Okay, make that 3 or 4 dorm rooms here in Mass Row. I worked a lot, learned a lot, and ran a lot of miles in that small space. But the world is a whole lot bigger than that. Even when I was just starting out, I knew that tennis could show me the world, but tennis could never be the world. I knew that if I was lucky, maybe I could play competitively until my late 30s, maybe even 41. But even when I was in the top 5, it was important to me to have a life, a rewarding life full of travel, culture, friendships, and especially family. I never abandoned my roots and I never forgot where I came from, but I also never lost my appetite to see this very big world. I left home at 14 to go to school in the French part of Switzerland for 2 years. And I was horribly homesick at first, but I learned to love a life on the move. Maybe these are the reasons I never burned out. I was so excited to travel the world, but not just as a tourist. I realized pretty early that I wanted to serve other people in other countries. Motivated by my South African mother, I started a foundation to empower children through education. Early childhood education is something we take for granted in a place like Switzerland. But in sub-Saharan Africa, 75% of the children don't have access to preschool. Think about that, 75%. Like all children, they need a good start if they're going to fulfill their potential. And so far, we've helped nearly 3 million children get a quality education and helped to train more than 55,000 teachers. It's been an honor, and it's been humbling. An honor to help tackle this challenge and humbling to see how complex it is. Humbling to try to read stories to children in one of the languages of Lesotho. Humbling also to arrive in rural Zambia and have to explain what tennis actually is. I vividly remember drawing a tennis court on a chalkboard for the kids to see because I asked them what tennis was, and one kid said, "It's one with a table, right? With the paddles." Pong again. It's everywhere. I have to tell you, it's a wonderful feeling to visit these incredibly rural places and find classrooms full of children who are learning and reading and playing like children everywhere should be allowed to do. It's also inspiring to see what they grow up to be. Some have become nurses, teachers, and computer programmers. It's been an exciting journey. I feel like we're only at the beginning with so much more to learn. I can't believe we've just celebrated 20 years of this work, especially because I started the foundation before I thought I was ready. I was 22 at the time, like many of you are today. I was not ready for anything other than tennis, but sometimes you've got to take a chance and then figure it out. Philanthropy can mean a lot of things. It can mean starting a nonprofit or donating money, but it can also mean contributing your ideas and your time and your energy to a mission that is larger than yourself. All of you have so much to give, and I hope you will find your way, unique ways to own and make a difference. Because life really is much bigger than the court. As a student at Dartmouth, you picked a major and you went deep, but you also went wide. Engineers learned art history. Athletes even sang a cappella, and computer scientists learned to speak German. Dartmouth's legendary football coach, Buddy Tevens, used to recruit football players by telling their parents, "Your son will be a great football player when it's football time, a great student when it's academic time, and a great person all the time." That is what a Dartmouth education is about. Tennis has given me so many memories, but off-court experiences are the ones I carry forward just as much. The places I've gotten to travel to, the platform that lets me give back, and most of all, the people I've met along the way. Tennis, like life, is a team sport. Yes, you stand alone on your side of the net, but your success depends on your team, your coaches, your teammates, even your rivals. All these influences help to make you who you are.
You know, speaking of rivals, the Federer-Nadal rivalry put tennis on the map. It was legendary. They faced each other 40 times. Federer won the last match they were to play against each other. Wimbledon, of course, in 2019. But overall, Nadal beat Federer more than Federer beat Nadal. I think the court account is something like 24-16 matches. But their rivalry was special. Federer was right-handed, Nadal left-handed. At least he played tennis left-handed. Federer was known for his elegance. Nadal was known for his relentlessness. Federer was good on grass. Nadal was better on clay. But off the court, they were and still are friends. They're known for co-founding the Laver Cup, which is kind of like the Davis Cup in golf, but it's where rivals play each other together on the same team. The way that the Laver Cup works is that you have Team Europe and then you have Team World. Of course, Federer chose to retire at the 2022 Laver Cup. His partner for that tournament was none other than Rafael Nadal. They were playing for Team Europe against Jack Sock and Francis Tiafoe playing for Team World. Federer knew it would be his last tournament because of his knee injuries. He and Nadal won, and when they did, they both broke down in tears. After the match, Federer said, "It's been a perfect journey. I'd do it all over again." Later that night, he said, "I'm happy, not sad. I feel great. I'm happy I made it through. I enjoyed tying my shoes one more time, and everything was the last time." Of course, we see now that his highlights aren't just on the court, but also through his foundation, the Roger Federer Foundation. The work from the foundation operates mostly in Sub-Sahara, supporting teachers and schools across that part of the world. But according to their 2022 annual report, they've also invested 77.5 million Swiss francs into schools and over $52 million into kindergartens, not just in Sub-Saharan Africa, but also in Switzerland. It's been impactful in large part because Roger Federer and his family are deeply and personally involved in the work. For him, it is personal, and he executes everything he does with excellence. As he mentioned, his mother is from South Africa, so the continent was special already in his heart. But according to the World Bank, South Africa alone is facing what the World Bank calls a learning crisis. Just to hold the number of school-age children in South Africa in the building, they would need 20,000 more classrooms than they have now, and they would also need 25,000 more teachers. In February of 2025, Federer was in South Africa, and he was giving an interview because he was there working with the foundation, and he said this: children need playgrounds and books to learn, but most importantly, they need passionate and knowledgeable teachers, and they need them by 2030. So we can see Federer is focused. He's just as focused off the court as he ever was on it.
It's not an accident that my business partnership with Tony is called Team 8, a play on words. Teammate. All the work we do together reflects that team spirit, the strong bond we have with each other and our colleagues, with the athletes we represent, and with partners and sponsors. These personal relationships matter most. I learned this way of thinking from the best, my parents. They've always supported me, always encouraged me, and always understood what I most wanted and needed to be. A family is a team. I feel so very lucky that my incredible wife, Mirka, who makes every joy in my life even brighter, and our 4 amazing children, Mila, Charlene, Leo, and Lenny, are here with me today. And more important, that we are here for each other every day. Graduates, I know the same is true for you. Your parents, your families, they made the sacrifices to get you here. They've shared your triumphs and your struggles. They will always, always be in your corner. And not only them, as you head out of the world, don't forget, you get to bring all of this with you, this culture, this energy, these people, this color green, the friends who have pushed you and supported you to become the best version of yourselves, the friends who will never stop cheering for you, just like today. And you will keep making friends in the Dartmouth community, possibly even today. So right now, turn to the people on your left and on your right. Maybe this is the first time you've met. You might not share experiences or viewpoints, but now you share this memory and a whole lot more. When I left tennis, I became a former tennis player. But you are not a former anything. You are future record breakers, world travelers, future volunteers and philanthropists, future winners, and future leaders. I'm here to tell you, from the other side of graduation, that leaving a familiar world behind and finding new ones is incredibly, deeply, wonderfully exciting. So there, Dartmouth, are your tennis lessons for the day. Effortless is a myth. It's only a point. Life is bigger than the court. Wait, I got one more lesson. President Baylock, can I have my racket real quick? Okay, so for your forehand, you'll want to use an Eastern grip. Keep your knuckles apart a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to squeeze the grip too hard. Switching from forehand to backhand should be easy. Also, remember, it all starts with the footwork, and the take back is as important as the follow through. No, this is not a metaphor. It's just good technique. Dartmouth, this has been an incredible honor for me. Thank you for the honorary degree. Thank you for making me part of your really big day. I'm glad I got to meet so many of you these past few days. If you are ever in Switzerland or anywhere else in the world and you see me on the street, even 20 or 30 years from now, whether I have gray hair or no hair, I want you to stop me and say, I was there that day on the green. I'm a member of your class, the class of 2024. I will never forget this day, and I know you won't either. You've worked so hard to get here and left nothing on the court or the Pong table. From one graduate to another, I can't wait to see what you all do next. Whatever game you choose, give it your best. Go for your shots, play free, try everything, and most of all, be kind to one another and have fun out there. Congratulations again, class of 2024.
You know, in the interview I referenced from February 2025 in South Africa, Federer told the reporter in simple terms something that we see him living out. He said, "I think we all have the power to help one another. I think getting together, then I think is the key for success." And in Federer's case, I think he has established enough of his reputation to convince us not only of his own commitment to this mindset, but its viability in making one's life not just successful professionally, but successful as a human being. So there it is, Life 101 per Federer. Work hard, be resilient, live for a bigger purpose than yourself. In some ways, it's not something we haven't heard before, but if we watch his life, we see his success, we see that this can be done, but it's a way of life that is worth being done.
And so we end here. Thank you for listening and supporting us as we try to follow Federer's example and give back in our own way. If you enjoyed this discussion, please share it with your friends, co-workers, or students. Remember, it's when you share that we grow. Please connect with us on social media or through our website at howtolovelitpodcast.com. And again, thank you for helping us make learning accessible and enjoyable for as many people as possible.
Peace out.
Listen up! You can get the new iPhone 16e with Apple Intelligence for just $49.99 when you switch to Boost Mobile. We pulled so many all-nighters to give you this deal, and hey, stop messing with the mic!
I'm just helping us catch people's attention. This is a great deal!
Exactly, so it doesn't need all that.
Fine.
Head to your nearest Boost Mobile store right now.
Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store for full offer details. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later. Restrictions apply.
I can't tell you how often I hear, "Oh, I'm a little OCD. I like things neat." That's not OCD. I'm Howie Mandel, and I know this because I have OCD. Actual OCD causes relentless unwanted thoughts. What if I did something terrible and forgot? What if I'm a bad person? Why am I thinking this terrible thing? It makes you question absolutely everything, and you'll do anything to feel better. OCD is debilitating, but it's also highly treatable with the right kind of therapy. Regular talk therapy doesn't cut it. OCD needs specialized therapy. That's why I want to tell you about NoCD. NoCD is the world's largest virtual therapy provider for OCD. Their licensed therapists provide specialized therapy virtually, and it's covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans. If you think you might be struggling with OCD, visit nocd.com to schedule a free 15-minute call and learn more. That's nocd.com.
Hi, it's Jenny and Bill, and we're the husband and wife team behind Simple Bath and Kitchen. And yes, we've lived through our own remodeling disasters.
One involved a jackhammer and a flooded laundry room. Ask me later.
Yes, I remember, Bill. That's why we built a company focused on beautiful results without the drama. No sales games, just a process we want in our own home.
Because let's be honest, remodeling should make life better, not messier.
Get started today at simplebathandkitchen.com or call us at 614-888-BATH.